All right, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. A little bit of a unique episode today. We've got Brad Zerman coming to us live from the lounge there at 7 Point Dispensary and Records. So, Brad, how we feeling today, man?
Feeling pretty good. I'm sitting here in this lounge that it's not open yet, but it's going to open this month. And 7 Point started out about 10 years ago or so as a medical cannabis dispensary.
Sure.
So we had one of the first licenses in Illinois. It was right outside Chicago in Oak Park. And we sold that business, but ended up getting back into it and applied for a bunch of licenses when it went recreational in Illinois. It was during COVID, took a long time, gave us a much longer opportunity to think about what we might be able to create, if we want a license. And, so the idea sort of evolved from, the traditional dispensary model really, I don't think works. And we didn't really have that 10 years ago. So we were thinking, well, if we had kind of like a spa looking dispensary back then, what would we need to do 10 years later? There's more technology now, there's better education, let's look for all the ways that we can help people understand cannabis and all the benefits and what would work for them maybe. And also keeping in mind, I'm older, so the people that I'm friends with that don't smoke typically or had traditionally maybe been a drinker, now they're asking questions. They, when it was medical, oh, can you get me this? Can you get me that? But they're still asking for the products, which tells me they don't really want to go in the store and talk to someone about it because they just don't know enough.
Sure.
They know all the vodka brands and the red wine and all that, but they just don't know the weeds. So we wanted to be more educational, and we wanted to be more than just a weed shop because we're trying to normalize cannabis. It's not normal to have a store that only sells cannabis. That's not normal. That's like a dry cleaners that only has dry cleaning. Every store has more than one product in it. So we kind of pushed it with the state and it won, but we have hundreds of food and beverage products that we sell in the dispensary, from cheese and crackers to chocolate and all kinds of fun sweet snacks and drinks. We have healthy drinks like water and tea, and we have Skittles drinks, things that are just pure sugar. So we're trying to just be more interesting and fun than a typical dispensary where all the packaging is all behind glass and you can't really look at it closely or touch it, and there's no weed in there anyway, so why does it have to have the glass? So we have about 400 products on our sales floor, and you could pick up all of them and touch them. And then we have monitors throughout the store with a reader right below it, and so you could pick up all these products and set them on the reader, and it just reads a code underneath, and then on the screen it'll tell you all about the product from the manufacturer, the THC percentage, the terpenes, all the education, but then you could order it right there too. And if there's 10 strains that are related to that product, then it'll show you all the strains. If they have them in joints and eighths and quarter ounces, they'll show all the options for those products. If it's an edible, it'll have all the flavors. So we don't need to have everything out there. We could have one, and then people could see the rest.
Yeah. So it sounds like obviously much different approach to how it's done in other places. And I know that everyone's laws are kind of all over the place, but how important was it for you guys to have it open, as the 10 years ago? What did you guys learn in that period of time that has been able to help you guys to as we've gone through the recreational legalization? You guys were on the kind of the cutting edge 10 years ago, and now you've probably taken a lot of that knowledge. Like, what are some of those things that you learned then that you're applying now?
We were super big into education back then because cannabis was brand new in Illinois, and so we helped people get their medical cards, which was like really rough in Illinois. You had to get fingerprinted and stuff, which was unlike other states. So like we had these community events in libraries in Oak Park and the surrounding communities, and you know, we got hundreds of people licensed to get medical cards, but we weren't even open yet. We took a long time to build out, and then when we were finally open, we invited everyone to come in. We gave them like money to use for coupons towards what they had to pay to get to the program, and it was just that whole community factor of bringing the community for those meetings and stuff. So we had, you know, we were in a space, and then we built out an adjacent space so we could have these events in the space once we opened, but we used the libraries and like restaurants before that. But then, you know, this store, we built a building from the ground up. It's like we're on the border of Indiana, so we're in a rural area, and there were no buildings to buy or anything. So we built it so that we had a separate space that could be used for community events, but you know, hopefully it would be something that we could get approval for ultimately to smoke in for those community events. So it took us 3 years. We've been lobbying the city for that since we got the license, you know, a year and a half before we even opened the store. And you know, in February we got approved for it, and last week we got approved by the state. The state is totally cool about it. They have it in their laws in Illinois that you can open a lounge with a dispensary as long as the city's okay with it. So that was a challenge for us, but we did it, and you know, we're low on capital, so we took about 6 months to get it going. But you know, it's now got like a bunch of booths and tables and a stage. We have a whole karaoke setup, 2 microphones, stage lights. You know, I can flip this around and you can see the stage.
Oh wow!
So we've got a big screen. So there's the booths and stuff over there. So we have a record store combined with the dispensary. So I'll touch on that first because we're doing like more live music in here. But we wanted to have like a cool music vibe and a music art vibe in the store first. I have a collection of like signed and unsigned rock and roll memorabilia like all over my house that my wife and I collected for 20 years, you know, like from charity events and stuff. So we decided to move a lot of that stuff down here into the dispensary, and so we did that, and also we hired like Pearl Jam's concert poster artists from the 90s. Ames Brothers. They did a 2,000 square foot ceiling mural for us. So you could go online, 7point.org, and see pictures of all this stuff. But it's, you know, it's all music art throughout the store, and you know, we have hundreds of albums that you can see the albums, and you know, they're all beautiful to look at, and like, you know, we have like a Pearl Jam signed guitar and U2 signed leather jacket and Rage Against the Machine symbol. So it's like we have like stuff that you can see at a museum. It's got like a plaque next to it and stuff. And then at some point I just decided that, like, you know, what was missing maybe was the actual music factor, you know, instead of just like hinting around it with all the cool artwork, let's sell music, you know, and we sell turntables and speakers, and you know, it makes the whole experience just more laid back, that, you know, no one's going to rush you in to buy a bunch of weed and leave. Like, it's a big store. You could shop around. We have hundreds of food items. We have hundreds of supplies and accessories, unlike most dispensaries that have like maybe 10 things or 15 things. We have hundreds of, you know, things, supplies, paper, candles, ashtrays, and you know, a lot of cool, interesting stuff from small vendors, and you know, people buy it.
Yeah.
So,
Very
you know,
cool.
so now we've got the you know, we've got the lounge that we can actually bring the music to the next level, and we're gonna run like music related events most nights of the week. So like we've got this 100-inch TV we can run movies on, so we could get like stoner movies or music documentaries, stuff like that. And Mondays we have a program for music trivia, and then Tuesdays music bingo. So it's just like bingo, only instead of numbers, it's just names of songs. And like we can run these apps on our big screen so everyone can see it in the room and play. And then Wednesday is like playlist night or bring a record. We've got a cool turntable in here that we could play people's vinyl on. And then Thursday's open mic night. We got 2 mics on stage. Fridays karaoke. We're kind of like in a big karaoke town in Danville. There's not a lot to do, but all the bars have like a karaoke night, and like people are into it.
Really awesome. Well, you know, when you guys like, are you guys selling vinyls inside the store as well? Like,
Yeah.
is that, you know? So I guess, you know, natural crossover there between, you know, music and kind of the experience. You know, I don't think about, when I think of listen to a vinyl, it's, you know, I'm sitting down and I'm going to listen to the full record, right? How important was it to kind of have that lounge aspect where, you know, you can have that night where people come in and, hey, this is my favorite vinyl. Let me go ahead and let everybody enjoy it, and they can hear what I hear, you know, while I'm enjoying.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And like with the games, like with bingo and the trivia, we can, you know, it's different eras and different genres, and so like
Sure.
one week it could be hip hop, next week could be country, whatever, you know, and then like, you know, we'll have all that. It's gonna be on our website, but we just felt like we've seen other businesses kind of struggle and get people in there and stuff, and you know, we just think if we operate like a bar that does these things on the slow nights, then that will work. And so we talked to a friend of mine who's a bar owner, and you know, but we wanted to have that music undertone to it, and so
Sure.
there's a music trivia and there's a music bingo, and you know, people will just know, yeah, if you want to like listen to music, whether it's recorded or live or community related, like go to 7 Point and there's always be something going on.
Yeah, love that. Well, what are some of the vinyls in your collection that like you would say are you know, can't miss? Like, what are some things that, you know, you've got to have and that, you know, have really influenced you over the years?
Honestly, I don't have a vinyl collection right now. My kids have more vinyl than I do. But like growing up, that was huge. You know, that's all there was. You know,
Sure.
I grew up in the 80s, like in the 70s and the early 80s. I was in high school, and it was all like 70s rock, you know, classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Aerosmith, The Who, The Stones, The Doors, Hendrix. That's what I grew up with. And then, you know, I got out of college, and then it was the 90s, and, you know, I was totally into the Seattle grunge stuff. But I'm really interested in live music, and that's like, you know, I've traveled around to see Pearl Jam and, you know, Soundgarden and like stuff like that, and gone to lots and lots of shows. I have my concert tickets since 1980.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you know, so I'm like, that's really my interest. Like, I'm super busy. Like, I listen to Sirius XM in my car, and like, that's, you know, the extent of it. But now I'm excited that, you know, my job is surrounded by like really fun stuff, weed and music. And, you know, just before we were on this call, you know, we're hooking up some of this AV stuff, and, you know, playing, you know, Nirvana, Teen Spirit, and like, you know, cranking stuff. And so like that makes it fun, and we want people to be able to come experience cannabis just like going to a bar and having a beer. You know, it's the same thing. We have an outdoor patio too, with like tables and umbrellas, like in a beer garden, where
Sure.
it's got all the, you know, liquor companies and stuff. We have weed sponsors in here and in the patio too.
Wow. So, do you guys have a bar element to it for somebody who did want to imbibe in, some booze? Or
Actually, here, so I'll turn it this way. So we have a bar, and
Yeah.
then behind the bar, instead of alcohol, we've got a bunch of snacks, prepackaged snacks, and glass devices that you could use to smoke out of for free. So like we have all the stuff we sell in the store, we have in here, and you could use it at no charge. And like our servers will show you how to use all the devices. So if there's something like you were thinking about buying, you could try it out and like learn how to do it here. And then we have, I don't know if you saw them, but we have like 2 tall refrigerators, and then we've got like the back bar refrigerators that you see behind bars with the short refrigerators. So we've got 3 of those, and we've got like all the hemp drinks. So in the store, you could buy cannabis drinks from licensed cannabis dealers, but in the lounge, it's unregulated. So we're able to sell the same things that like a bar or a restaurant or a liquor store would sell with all these legal hemp drinks. We have like probably 50 different kinds and flavors and, makeups of what's in them. And then we have soft drinks. We have non-alcoholic cocktails that are pre-made, and non-alcoholic beer and THC beer.
Wow.
So we got something for everyone.
Yeah.
We got snacks. The next thing we're working on is a food truck because there's no food in the area. People could order in, fast food from the other side of town, but we're trying to provide like a cool experience. So we need to feed the stoners that are going to be in here every night. So that's like kind of our next little project, but we're just trying to get this place open this month for sure.
Yeah. All right. If I come in, I'm coming in for music trivia. What do you recommend? Somebody who doesn't smoke that often, maybe once or twice a week, if that. Like, what do you recommend for somebody who's kind of just right down Main Street there? Like, hey, here's the thing that I would say is where you should start, so you don't you don't end up swallowed up in one of these chairs.
Yeah. Well, like you don't have to buy the highest THC products all the time. You can buy things that are lower that still are going to have a great effect because of like the other, cannabinoids that are in there and the terpene levels. So like, we could find stuff that's more easygoing for anyone. The real question is, how do you want to use it? So like, do you want to buy a pack of joints? Like, okay, here's some joints we just came up with. The 7-point Vibe Pack, so there's 7 1-gram joints in there. But if you're amateur, what are you going to do with a 1-gram joint? That's for like 4 people probably, Yeah. So, maybe then you want like a smaller one, that you and your friend can share, and it's not going to, hit you too hard. But if you want to try out like a bong, like we could put ice and water in the bong for you and stuff. We have freezers in here and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
like we could load up a bong for you, and you could use that. Not everyone even has a bong at home. Some people just have a little one hitter or a pipe, and they're trying to hide it from their kids and whatever. But like if you then I would say, okay, you could buy like an eighth or something smaller that we're gonna supply the table with a bunch of accessories they can use. In addition to the devices. So like we have these things we had made from a friend. It's gonna hold like it looks like an ashtray, but it's not gonna be an ashtray. There's room in there for a grinder and a clipper lighter. So we have 7-point lighters and grinders that people can use while they're here. So if they buy some flour, they want to grind it up and put it in a bong, then we got that for them. We have 7-point rolling trays that'll be on the table. So instead of like going to a cafe and like the salt and pepper and the sugar on the ketchup, we have a thing that's got a grinder and a lighter and like the rolling tray and an ashtray. We have these kind of like music type ashtrays that look like a Marshall amp.
Love that. There you go.
So we're just trying to have fun.
I love it. Now we're booking the music. What do you do you have a particular is there a big scene, where you guys are? Is there,
Oh no,
are you
it's
looking
a
to try
small
to,
town.
drive some people over from some larger places? Like, take me through what the process can be for that.
Well, most of these activities we're going to have are going to be free. So we're going to have
Hmm.
like, things that are more community based, the games, the open mic and karaoke. So that's like our own self community entertainment. But like we are going to have live music on Saturdays. But
Hmm.
like, we're not going to spend a lot of money on that if it's free. So,
Yeah.
but we have the state, we have customers that already want to play. They play guitar, they sing. So like we can hire people that we know. We also have a spot on our website that people can like tell us who they are and show us like we could listen to them, so we can hire them. But like if we want to have a real concert, like we're gonna just get up and running first. But if we want to have a real
Yeah.
show, there's local bands in Champaign where University of Illinois is a half hour away.
Sure.
So like there's acts that we've already like seen ourselves that we could hire
Hmm.
for a few $100, and whatever, we have weed, people maybe will trade music for weed, who knows.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
so
It's a community. You
yeah,
know?
we're just we there's a local. I'm gonna have to walk around, so it looks like my computer might die. I thought I had enough juice,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I'm gonna
good.
move to a cord. Anyway, there's a local person in Danville who he's like a promoter, and he's a comedian, and he's had like a whole bunch of shows in the area before, and he wants to do a monthly comedy event in our space. So he's been here a bunch, and he's got this videographer partner. They work together, and like we'll probably work on something for late January or early February, and then do it monthly, where he's got different comedians, and then what we talked about is that he could sell tickets. We'd see like probably 50 some people in here, and so like we'd sell tickets for whatever price they want, and then we would tack on 10 or 12 bucks, and then that would take care of like a joint or a pack of edibles or something, that people could get whatever they want. That's like a coupon or whatever. They could get snacks or
Yeah.
have drinks or whatever. So it'll be like something that they're already like everything's taken care of, and they can enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's like an all-in-one. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Kind of getting that good feel. Well,
It's kind of like you go to a comedy show and everyone pays for a seat, but they have a 2-drink minimum.
yeah.
Right. So we don't have to worry about the minimum. It just comes with the package.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I guess, I saw on the website there's also, possibly you guys are opening up another location in Michigan. Is that something that's, still in the works, or is this kind of the main
It's
focus right
stalled
now?
It's like a stalled
Yeah.
project because of the condition of the Michigan market. It's like
Got it.
It's like out west where all the pricing collapsed and the businesses can't make money and everything's devalued. So right now I'm out quite a bit of money, and we're trying to either sell it or open it up with some other people. But it's like a prime location in the Metro Detroit area that we really want to like bring the music concept there. So maybe we'll do that in the future, but right now it's sitting
Yeah.
there.
Gotcha. So this is the main focus, Danville, getting that one, getting this one rolling, getting it, to have the bar feel like, I mean, again, it's something that we're in Atlanta, so a little bit different kind of, market feel here. We're mainly bars. I've got a couple hookah lounges though down the street, but nothing like you guys got going on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that, as I, that you want a customer to know, like, walking in? I think like the education piece seems like to be a theme throughout, like, and that seems very, very important. And I've only bought weed legal once, and it definitely, I needed some help. I think anybody who's offering education should be, at the top of somebody's list.
Yeah, I mean, this just kind of enables you to be able to look online where everything is that you want and that you need to find it, and you could, then be able to do that at home too if you want. But like,
Yeah.
we actually have another cool educational tool for the users at home when they're ordering, like on their computer or their phone. We subscribe to a service that It's called Terply, and it's like an AI bud tender. So when you go to our, 7point.org menu or 7point.shop, like something will pop up and ask you if you want some help, and then it will ask you like questions about what you're trying to seek in your cannabis mission, and so then you'll say what you want, and it'll make suggestions, but the suggestions are real based on the cannabinoids that are in the products, because the software is like embedded into our point of sale program, so it knows all the features about each cannabis product on our menu, and it can help people get what they want. And we see like really good results in the reports about how people use that AI bud tender, and like it seems like it's growing. People are getting a lot of recommendations, and it could even tell us like how many recommendations it made and how many of those recommendations were actually purchased.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting AI. We're getting AI into the weed too. I mean, it's going everywhere. I mean, got to do it.
We got if you can get help from that, then why not? It's free.
100%. 100%. Well, I love that. Well, something else that's free. We'll wrap us up here with a little Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Excited for this one because we'll get some. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. It's mainly food based, and we're gonna get some. I know you guys have some snacks and different things in the establishment, so I'm curious to hear your answers on these. So, Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Brad Zerman, 7 Point Dispensaries. Here we go. Cake or pie?
Pie.
He's pieing it up. All right. Salad or soup?
Salad.
All right. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunsets in Central Illinois, like driving back to Chicago when I go home. It's like they're really cool. Pink,
I love that.
Orange.
Getting the full Monty there. I love that. All right. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Cubs or Bears?
Well, let's go with baseball. I live right by Wrigley Field.
All right.
So,
all right. Love that. All right. Night in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
Mostly in. I'm in Danville half the week, and I'm like in my lounge, and we're making our own fun, hanging out at home. It's like winter where I am. I'm sure it's a lot warmer where you are, but we've had a really like stormy weekend in Chicago and in Danville. I drove through it yesterday too, so it just keeps coming here. But like a couple weeks ago, it was 70 degrees, so
Gotcha. Well, when you do go out, when you do go out and your jam comes on, are you more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor?
Probably the robot.
Robot, I love it. All right,
But I'd probably stay as far off the dance floor as possible, just between me and you.
Fair enough. All right, guac or queso at your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
Well, I can't eat either one of them unless the guac doesn't have onions. Then I love avocado, but the onions and the cheese I can't eat, so that's a tough one. But guac without the onion.
Guac sans onion, I love it. Hey, we'll put some jalapeno instead of the onion.
That's fine.
Get that going. I love it. All right, waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
All right. Coffee or tea with your pancakes?
Tea.
Teeing it up. Okay. Dogs or cats?
Cat.
All right. Love that. All right.
Actually,
are you more like a?
There's two in my house.
He's a toucan guy. I like it. All right. Are you more like a
daughter
ninja or a pirate?
Sorry, my daughter came home from college with a black cat, so I have two cats that are like going at it.
The rivalry, you got it developed in there. You got to be careful with them.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Are you more like a ninja or a pirate?
Probably like a pirate.
Pirate. All right. Chips or pretzels?
Chips.
All right. Fries or tots?
Fries.
All right. TV show or a movie to unwind after a day?
Show, I don't have a long enough attention span or time to watch a whole movie typically. But the
Gotcha.
shows are good. You could, if you have time, you can watch a bunch. If you don't, you can watch
Yeah.
one.
Love it. All right. Are aliens real?
I don't think so.
No. All right. Bigfoot, is that real?
I used to think so, growing up, like in the '70s, like Saskatchewan. It seemed like people saw that, but I haven't heard about it in a while, so I'm going to say no.
All right. Is love at first sight real?
Yeah.
All right. There we go. All right. And give me one band that we ought to check out that we might not know. Maybe someone who, is aspirational to be playing at the lounge, or maybe somebody who's, you guys are, you're digging on from Champagne. Give me somebody.
Well, my 23-year-old daughter took me to a show a few weeks ago, and their band was called RC Drive, like ARCY, and they were they were like her age, and she might be ARCEY, I'm not sure, but they played at the Metro, which is across the street from Wrigley Field, right by my house, and they came and the tickets were sold out. And so we got like some VIP tickets that were pretty inexpensive because they're a pretty young band. And so like we met them with like a small group of people. They shared a lot of stuff. We saw the show. My daughter got the set list. And then they announced that they were going to be serving hot dogs at this famous Chicago place called the Wiener Circle.
Yeah.
And they invited like the people to come out and see them from the show. So like we stopped by with my daughter and her friend, and like we talked to all of them in the band. They were so nice. Like, my daughter had seen them in Colorado, so they talked about that. And one guy gave her the set list. So like I was pretty impressed. They were like really into it, and I've already seen that they're getting shows booked in the spring of 2026. And like this was my daughter saw them in Colorado, but now. They were like, they had a crew, they had a manager, they weren't selling their own merch, like they were like actually going somewhere. And so like for me, that like started following bands that were super young, like, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, people like that, and then see like, the new crop coming in, and like some of their stories are similar to stories of like U2, and like they didn't even know it, the drummer kind of started the band, this RC Drive, which was like U2, and like that's not usual. So like it was fun seeing after all these years of not following new bands but more following the older bands, to see what that experience for them today is like. And I was just so happy I got invited to go see them because they were all really cool. So I recommend RC Drive. The singer, the cool thing about why they were like U2 is that they were just friends and no one knew how to play instruments except the drummer, who was a female, and the other ones are guys. So like the singer though, he like climbed up the rafters in the venue, and like he was like probably 30 feet high at least. So I thought, okay, well they're trying to draw a crowd and get some interest. That's kind of Eddie Vedder routine. Only Eddie would jump, but I give him credit,
Yeah, I got to see them in Atlanta here, so I'm on the RC Drive train. So I love that rack.
Cool, right?
I love that rack. Yeah, they're very cool. Very cool.
They didn't know how to play before, those guys.
I'm shocked. I haven't. I've DM'd back and forth with them a little bit. I try to get them on the show, but they're a good group. I'm glad to see that they're they're crushing it in every facet.
Send them our thing that we just talked about them, because they'll remember. We just saw them a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Brad, thank you so much. I mean, you guys got a lot going on at 7 Point, to get get the lounge up and running. Excited to check back in and see how things are going in a few months here, and appreciate you stopping into the Indiebnb here, and for anybody in that Danville, Champaign, Chicago area, go check out 7 Point Dispensary and Records. Go get a record, go get some edibles, some flour, some different things, they'll set you right up there.
Thanks for having me on so we could talk about all our fun stuff.
Yeah, man. You got it, man. Take it easy. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.